Welcome to Alaska Weather, a production of Alaska Public Media and the National Weather Service, Alaska Region. Produced and broadcast daily from the studios of KAKM, Alaska Weather provides complete forecasts, public, marine, and aviation for all of Alaska. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
Hello again, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for this Saturday's edition of Alaska Weather. We've got a wind chill warning out here for the stretch of the eastern Beaufort Sea coast there. Wind chills 65 below zero tonight into tomorrow with winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. And then moving on west, big storm coming into the Aleutians currently and tonight, and that will shift eastward with the strong winds tomorrow. And we've got hurricane force wind warnings out here for the western Aleutians and for later tonight into tomorrow. And also a winter weather or a winter storm warning for like Adak, Atco over to Shemya for snow, blowing snow, 2 to 4 inches of snow to fall. And along with those winds could create pretty low visibilities there. And then that'll all slide over to the eastern Aleutians and then eventually into the Alaska Peninsula over the next 12-24 hours. Along with the wind, we're looking for wind gusts up to or exceeding 80 miles per hour all the way back across the entire area there with 60 to 70 knot winds. Otherwise, looking at a widespread area of storm force winds and gales. Satellite imagery yesterday showed clouds gathering here and building across, from just east of Kodiak Island right on up into the central interior areas. Otherwise, pretty good conditions there. North Gulf Coast, in across the Panhandle. Lots of cold air still pouring southward there across the Bering Sea. And the final push actually sweeping across the Fox Islands and Alaska Peninsula during the afternoon with winds lightening up back to the west, or up to the north, back to the west. You can see the edge of the first system that brought the rain and snow into the, or actually the snow into the Shemya area there and kicked the winds up yesterday. And we'll see today that really weakened right through here as the next system back to the southwest will be much stronger, starts to develop. Otherwise, continue to improve today over the eastern Bering Sea. Pribilof Islands down across the Fox Islands there. Look like some sunshine out this afternoon. Still with the light snow there on the Bering Sea side of the Alaska Peninsula. Started out a little breezy, but winds all through this area becoming pretty light during the day today, all the way up across St. Lawrence Island. Mostly clear and cold here in the white area over the western interior. Actually all the way out into the Bering Sea. This sea ice right through here. Nunivak Island right down toward Cape Newenham. And then this area cloudiness still about in the same position it was yesterday. And that is what dropped the foot of snow in the Anchorage area. And Seward had over 16 inches, a couple of heavier amounts there. Otherwise, just to the east or to the west, not much at all, as well to the south. So it was a pretty narrow area of heavy snow that fell with that. And otherwise not bad here at Cordova. High thin overcast this afternoon. Looks like sunshine there over the Panhandle. And really not much going on all the way up to the Arctic coast. Except temperatures right through here running in the mid-30s to mid-40s below zero. And rolling that once again, you can see this band here actually in time dissipating. And so it really hasn't moved off. It's just weakened and the snow's become a lot lighter and just about ended over portions of Anchorage at this time. For the chart today, you can see that narrow band right through here in the turquoise shaded area northward, and then really dissipates out as it heads up to the northeast. They're kind of linking up with this trough. Just some flurries along the Arctic coast, especially back here to the west. Fog and flurries a little more widespread there as this next trough swings in. Otherwise, looking at those southwest winds, 10 to 20 miles an hour there on the eastern Arctic coast. High pressure, light winds, cold temperatures, dry conditions out there in the west. And then this low here in the Gulf of Alaska, really not all that strong and not producing a whole lot of weather. And so gusty northeast winds over the northern southeast coast. less of a wind condition down to the south toward Dixon Entrance. And then this next front with the clouds in advance of it right across the Queen Charlotte's there. Eventually some of that will slip on up to the northwest here or later tonight, tomorrow, and those conditions kind of filling back into the Gulf of Alaska. For tonight, this 968 millibar low just coming onto the chart there, that's going to move northeastward and deepen quite a bit down to about 950 millibars by 3 a.m. tomorrow. So strong winds, hurricane force winds, snow, blowing snow moving into the Shemya at 2 area, and a transition here as the warmer air comes in, starting out snow for the central Aleutians, and then when that changes or mixes with rain, of course, then the winter weather warning will end, but you're still going to have the high wind warnings out, possible gusts of 90 miles an hour in advance of that front, and deteriorating conditions advancing eastward with precipitation possibly holding off around Dutch Harbor until tomorrow. Just a gradual increase in the winds here for the Pribilofs and not much going on over the Bristol Bay area. High pressure controlling much of the western and northern interior areas, and still some light snow showers, mostly cloudy skies going here, leftover moisture right about in this area here. To a lesser extent, this probably just flurries down there over Cook Inlet. Dry Kodiak Island, northwest winds, colder air once again trying to filter in to move east of the Alaska Range, so fair conditions for the Copper River Basin. And now some of this moisture with that front may slide northwestward. Most of it's going to stay to the west of the Panhandle, but you could get grazed with a little bit of light precipitation there, especially for Prince of Wales Island, but you may not get anything at all. You definitely won't see any snow up over the northern Panhandle. Just continued with the gusty wind conditions and flurries along the western Arctic coast there, but the wind's not much of a factor, and then eventually that wind chill warning will probably end here on the east side, as there just really isn't much gradient to support any wind at all. All that is down here over the Aleutians and spreading into the Bering Sea, eastward across the Alaska Peninsula there. So probably precipitation getting into the Pribilofs tomorrow afternoon. I haven't quite got it far enough north probably, and then the big increase in the winds here for the Alaska Peninsula areas, and then behind the front, wind starting to drop off toward the central Aleutian, but still a very tight pressure field on the west side of that system. So it looks like 65 knot northerlies or northeasterlies sweeping in from about Amchitka Island on towards Shemya with snow and the colder air back through that area. Meanwhile, over the western interior here, not too bad. High pressure now centered up near Kivalina, and fair skies, mostly clear skies, and cold temperatures and dry conditions, again, right down into Bristol Bay. And we still have this band of moisture here that's going to be pulling westward a little bit, but again, won't be anywhere near as extensive or heavy as what we saw in the last 24 hours here, and probably just snow showers on up to the north there, low in the Gulf of Alaska. That moisture with that front kind of pulls back to the west here, most of it staying out of the Panhandle, hopefully at least at this point in time, and then mostly clear here over the eastern interior. For the Monday outlook, nice conditions over the interior here. Could get a little bit of light snow, Kaktovik southward, probably near or east of Arctic Village, and again, same thing north or east of Eagle. Otherwise, the Tanana Valley, light winds, dry conditions. That extends all the way out. Start picking the winds up here, though, for Norton Sound, St. Lawrence Island area. East-northeast winds now, instead of easterly, will begin to become more northeasterly, or the northeast component will increase. So that's going to pull the very cold air out of the interior, bring it down toward the Pribilofs. So it looks like a near blizzard kind of day out there for Monday, with winds gusting 50 miles an hour, snow blowing snow. And that shifts on down into the central Aleutians, becomes more showery back to the west until they finally end out toward Attu Island. And then southerly flow here keeps it wet over the Alaska Peninsula, but winds not nearly as strong here. The front pressure field weakening gradually, but still looking at, I believe, storm force winds there for the Pribilofs. Gales here along the coast, and wind, rain, and snow pushing northwestward there, Kodiak Island. Snow up to the Kenai Peninsula. Some of that may progress west far enough to possibly get into the Anchorage area, Palmer, but again, it may not. Going to be right on the edge there. Better chance there across Prince William Sound. And then mixed precipitation, warmer southerly flow reaching the North Gulf Coast, so probably rain and snow or just rain at Cordova. Same pattern there for Yakutat, but with this trough, that precipitation pattern there is going to be more convective, periods of rain and snow, depending on your elevation, latitude, and proximity to the Pacific. Temperatures down that way today were look like 20s to lower 30s there, 32 Elfin Cove, 16 at Skagway, and a 21 at Yakutat, near 20 here for the North Gulf Coast, Cordova 19, 22 Whittier, minus 12 at Gulkana, 19 below in Fairbanks, much colder west there at Tanana, minus 38, 42 below at Bettles, while down in the Susitna Valley, teens, 12 degrees both at Palmer and Anchorage, with a 13 at Kenai, up to 22 in Homer, and Fort Yukon, 24 below, right around minus 30 there for the Berks Range at Arctic Village and Anatuvik. Up on the Arctic coast, right around 20 below, averaged out, milder here in the west, and kind of a range across Kotzebue Sound, minus 15 at Buckland to minus 29. Looks like at Kotzebue, Ambler at 38 below, and Nome, 18 below, minus 6 at Wales. And then for McGrath, minus 20, and just a tad warmer there at Bethel with the 20 to 25 degree reading at St. Paul and St. George, minus 5 at King Salmon, and then into the upper teens on down the peninsula till you hit 29, and on Alaska, 24 in Kodiak. Out west, mid-30s here, pretty common from the Atka area out to Shimya, and moving on to the lows for tonight, 40 to 50 below here, central interior, back down to 40 below around McGrath and Nikolai, mid-minus 20s to maybe mid-minus 30s here over the inland areas of the Seward Peninsula, and well below zero North Slope Arctic coastal areas, milder, above zero on the plus side, south central Alaska, teens and 20s for the Panhandle. And then for the highs tomorrow, 20s and lower 30s here to near 40 out along the coast, 20s North Gulf Coast, single numbers, Kenai Peninsula, Cook Inlet, Susitna, Madanuska Valley, minus 6, portions of the Copper River Basin, other areas will be above zero, lower 20s for Kodiak, lower 30s there for Falls Pass and Cold Bay with much colder conditions to the northeast, near 40 there for the Aleutians. And then for flying weather tomorrow, still some leftover IFR here over the Chugach Mountains, Turnagain Arm, toward Whittier and maybe northward, but you can see they're forecasting it to become VFR for the Talkeetnas. And not too bad for the North Gulf Coast, marginal VFR possible there along the southeast coast, and a big area IFR here pushing eastward. And it looks like by 3 a.m. they've got it all the way over to near Sandpoint or beyond, extending westward, just about to the far western Aleutians. And then for afternoon, that swings eastward here, and that southeast flow brings the IFR Kodiak up into Kamishak Bay, breaking along the lee side of the Alaska Range and Aleutian Range, and back into the IFR for the Kilbrook Mountains, down into Dillingham to Togiak, on back to the Pribilofs, and then down into the central Aleutians. Big swath of VFR over the interior in the northern Bering Sea, IFR on the extreme eastern Arctic coast. Passes shaping up like this, Anatuvik and Adigan, both VFR. Lake Clark and Merrill, VFR, as well as rainy. Windy, also VFR. Isabel, Mentesta, looking really good. Tanita, though, gradually improving there as that moisture area dissipates, becoming marginal into the afternoon. Portage, an upward trend or improving trend as well there. And then Chilkoot and White, VFR becoming marginal, and freezing levels at the surface now, right up into the Gulf of Alaska, but south of the Alaska Peninsula and Kodiak, 2,000 feet over the southern panhandle. Big storm pushing warmer air in, but just barely getting to the Aleutians here, 2,000 to 6,000 foot freezing levels there. Icing, that's going to be all out over the Aleutians, spreading into the southern Bering Sea to the Pribilofs, over to the Alaska Peninsula, some heavier stuff, Falls Pass, over to Nikolsky, above about 3,000 feet, icing free everywhere else. Jet stream, tomorrow a trough right through here, coming in, higher pressure behind it, big storm out to the west, main jet 170 knots, kind of picks up to 120 knots out of the west-northwest across Bristol Bay. And then the strong winds here at 9,000 feet, 70 to 80 knots. Eastern Aleutians, the Alaska Peninsula to the Pribilofs. Easterlies across the Bering Sea at 70 to 80 knots, turning southward over the western Aleutians. A lot lighter here, southern Alaska, even the interior, pretty light winds. Could see some 25 knotters there on the eastern side of that low in the Gulf of Alaska. 3,000 feet, about the same pattern. Southeast, 20 knots for the most part along the coast. Otherwise lighter through southern Alaska. 3,000 feet out here for the Aleutians, 30 to 65 knots. This in advance of the front, of course, and then easterlies 75 knots across the Bering Sea. Very strong winds coming in around the western perimeter of that system. And for turbulence, severe, pretty possible here for the Alaska Peninsula, areas across the eastern Aleutians, also for the far western Aleutians with definitely moderate chop up to the Pribilofs, lighter turbulence here, Alaska Range, down across the Barren Islands, Fognak Island areas. And after the break, I'll be back with the marine forecasts.
It's a complicated project, but a simple life. You can study whales all over the world, you can study harbor seals all over the world, but you cannot study them in silence all over the world. So we really need this sort of piece of wilderness, this untrammeled wilderness, as they say, in order to answer some of these questions.
So we've been monitoring underwater sound here in Glacier Bay since May of 2000. And the reason why we're doing that is to understand what the park is like from the perspective of a marine mammal, because marine mammals are very dependent on the natural sound environment.
If you sort of bring it back to humans, humans respond to noise in very stereotypical ways, and other mammals do the same thing. So, you know, if you go to a concert with your buddy and if the music's really loud, you're going to talk at a higher pitch. You're going to talk louder, and you might have to repeat yourself. And marine mammals do the same thing if it gets noisy. So we're seeing, you know, just which of those three that they actually do. We're here on Strawberry Island for the entire summer.
We sample 8 to 12 hours a day. There'll be 2 people who are on our beach station doing scans, marking each whale in the area, 2 people who are doing focal follows from our tower, which is a temporary tower that we have set up here on Strawberry Island. And then we have 2 people who are in the kayak who are doing fine scale acoustic sampling for harbor seals. Got a harbor seal at 23 meters.
Got it? What's our bearing?
Bearing is 5822121.
Being able to pair what an animal is saying with where the animal is saying it is an amazing data set. It's a hard data set to get. It takes a lot of work, but it can answer so many questions.
So our cruise ship right here in the background is right on time today. We have a blissful hour and a half before the cruise ship gets here where we can watch our whales in silence. And then our ship comes in, bringing with it the noise that it brings, and we watch our whales while the ship's here to see whether or not their behavior is changing. And then it's going to go up bay and bring passengers to go see the glaciers, and we are going to get that blissful quiet again to see whether or not our whales are going back to that natural behavior.
This is the computer that runs our underwater acoustic monitoring. And there's a 5-mile cable from my office that leads out to a hydrophone that's out recording live sounds in Glacier Bay. And if I turn this up a little bit louder for the moment, that's the sound of a male harbor seal roaring because it's the mating season.
Strawberry Island. Building a good field team and building some good camaraderie is really important. We have sort of these daily routines of things that we do together. So there's a schedule that we check every morning, who's going to cook lunch that day, who's going to cook dinner. And then every day we take a group photo. And then every day we do a daily check-in. We talk about what worked that day, what didn't work that day, and what we learned either from the island or from each other over the course of the day. Surface 9006, 00.
Last night, there were anywhere from 8 to 10 individuals right along the kelp bed off the point. And we were trying to figure out exactly what they were doing. So as acousticians, Michelle and I got a hydrophone.
That seemed like the right thing to do.
Put the hydrophone in the water to see what was going on. Well, we dropped the hydrophone and it was so quiet. There was not a single roar.
Nothing. We heard
It
nothing.
was just so unusual.
One of the things we did observe yesterday was 2 large bull killer whales who had come into the area that we learned today were transient killer whales. They do come into this area to hunt harbor seals. This is a pupping ground. That's what they come in for.
Yep.
We cannot in any way, shape, or form definitively link the presence of mammal-eating killer whales with the silence of harbor seals.
No, but it is quite interesting that they happened at the exact same time. It's always an adventure in Strawberry Island. You never know what the day's going to bring.
This morning at 5:15 in the morning, the area was just boiling with whales. I had one 15-minute scan this morning where I was literally hopping back and forth on either side of the theodolite, calling out numbers to try and get all the whales as quickly as possible. And then 15 minutes later, we couldn't find them. Aside from getting to be outside all the time, my favorite part of doing my PhD is getting to work with Leanna.
It goes both ways.
It helps when you put 2 minds that think differently onto the same problem.
Global ocean noise is a real problem, and there are areas of the ocean that have underwater sound from vessels so often that you could almost consider it an urban environment. Glacier Bay is a very remote area, and it was set aside as a national park in part to do scientific research. And we're privileged to be able to use it as a natural laboratory where we can better understand the impacts of underwater noise.
There are some places that act like characters in your life, and I think that a lot of Alaskans can resonate with the fact that living here is like having another family member. It's like having somebody really, really important who's sort of nudging you to be a little uncomfortable all the time and to stretch yourself all the time because it's worth it. I've lived here for almost 10 years. I've made Alaska my home, and so I'm an Alaskan by choice.
Welcome back. Over the last week, there was a remarkable advance of sea ice here. It was open water back into the Bering Strait. Now we've got ice south of St. Lawrence Island, south and west of Nunivak Island, angling back into Bristol Bay. Forecast to continue to advance southwestward here, especially when those northeast winds increase once again on Monday and into the first of next week. Otherwise, southeast winds 20 to 25 here for the coastal areas of the Panhandle. Inside water, southeast 25 for Clarence Strait, and then northerlies 25 to 30 knots for the central and northern channels. And Monday, less wind, west-southwest 15 knots on the south coast, turning south and then southeast to 20 up to the north. Seas just 9 to 10 feet. Southeast 20 here for Stevens Passage and Clarence Strait, and looks like a light wind day shaping up for Lynn Canal. For Prince William Sound, Cook Inlet, northeast at 10, and then northeast 30, gale force gusts for Kamishak Bay here, right down across the Barrens. Small craft advisories for Kodiak Island, northwest winds, higher gusts, and 15 to 20 knot winds here with some kind of northerly component for the North Gulf Coast. Then on Monday, gales out of the east here, east side of Kodiak Island and the Barrens, northeast 45 knots for Kamishak Bay, otherwise small craft advisories for Chillicothe Strait, south-southeasterlies at 25 from the North Gulf Coast and 15 knots for Prince William Sound and northern Cook Inlet. Bristol Bay, small craft advisories tomorrow, full gales here for the Alaska Peninsula as that front approaches with winds coming up to 25 knots there from Castle Cape to Sitkinak. And then on Monday, 40 knot winds here, except through this stretch, just 25 knot winds with southeast 40 up to Sitkinak, northeast 40 for Bristol Bay. Aleutians, storm warnings just about all areas and some hurricane force wind warnings. We're at 65 knots through here and gradually diminishing back to 55 towards Shemya, east 60 north of Adak and Atka, and then storms from the east-southeast all the way over to Dutch Harbor. Monday, less wind, but northerlies 40 to 50 knots across Adak and Atska, and that pattern all the way out to Shimia, and then lighter and more easterly here for the Fox Islands. Southwest coast, east 30 knots there, Cape Neuenham, the Cape Romanzoff, and then northeast 20 for St. Lawrence Island, picking up to 30 knots there into the northern Bering Sea. East winds coming up to 45 knots, 20-foot seas for the Pribilofs. Next day, those go northeast and hit storm force category there with 23-foot seas. Good gales along the southwest coast here, right out of the northeast. Brisk wind advisory, St. Lawrence Island, northeast 40 for St. Matthew Island, especially to the west. Up along the Arctic coast, pretty light winds by comparison. Southwest at 10 from the central coast eastward. Southwest 10 to 15 on the west side, and no wind here from Wales to Cape Thompson. And then for Monday, northeast 15 there from the Bering Strait up to Cape Beaufort. Light easterlies here for the central and west side, and really light winds also all the way to Demarcation Point out of the east. And for tonight, snow diminishes. Enough clouds should hang around to keep most of south central Alaska this side of zero. Otherwise, chance of moisture on the increase here, kind of difficult to say how much. Probably will stay mostly to the west, so nothing significant. Big storm out in the Aleutians with high wind warnings, gusts over 90 miles per hour. Snow and blowing snow out west, mixing out as you head east, and then that whole thing shifts eastward tomorrow. Strong winds advance to the front across the Fox Islands. Strong winds developing for the Alaska Peninsula up to the Pribilofs, and the strongest winds on the back side. Otherwise, not much change over the interior. Pretty fair, lingering snow showers through this area, and mostly in the Gulf of Alaska. And then that front brings not so severe weather into Kodiak. Snow and blowing snow for the Pribilofs. Have a great evening, and thanks for joining us.
These forecasts are to be used for planning purposes only. Call 1-800-WX-BRIEF for a formal pre-flight briefing. Always file a flight plan before you go flying. The U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary urges you to leave a float plan with a friend or the harbor master before you go boating. Alaska Weather is made possible by the following sponsors.
The National Weather Service.
If you're interested in serving on your local Federal Subsistence Regional Advisory Council, the deadline to apply is Friday, February 3rd. Email subsistence@fws.gov for more information.